Facing criminal charges, and now he can't work as a law enforcement officer anywhere in South Carolina.
That's because the state suspended Timothy Knight's certification this week. WBTV's Rachel Richardson spoke with a member of the council that was part of that decision. What'd you learn, Rachel?
Well, Jamie, first I'm here in the heart of town, and for many South Carolinians, this is a familiar stretch of road, SC 151. Many take this route to go to the beach, but they know this is an area where you're going to want to stay on your toes and watch your speed. But this town's speed enforcement is under criminal investigation, and its former police chief just had a new consequence. McBee is a small town. South Carolina 151 runs right through it. For years, drivers have known to watch their speed here. But now, traffic tickets are at the center of a criminal investigation involving 4 town officials.
He's innocent until proven guilty. However, we suspend his license, so there is no cloud over whatever he may do in the town that he was in or anywhere else.
Newberry County Sheriff Lee Foster sits on the South Carolina Law Enforcement Training Council. He's its vice chair. One of its jobs is reviewing allegations of misconduct against officers. This week, it suspended former McBee Police Chief Timothy Knight's certification. These are the original affidavits at the center of the case against former McBee Police Chief Tim Knight. They lay out the allegations about officers being required to write a certain amount of tickets in order to bring money into the town. 4 current and former McBee officials face charges connected to the investigation, including Knight, Officer Greg Block, Mayor Glenn Odom, and former Chief Michael Irvin. Each faces misconduct and conspiracy charges. Foster says the suspension doesn't mean someone's been found guilty.
Law enforcement is one of the only, if not the only, profession in South Carolina that is licensed, that once your certificate is revoked, now not suspended, but revoked, that you never get it back.
For now, Knight's certification is suspended while the criminal case moves through court. The council makes more decisions about certifications after cases are resolved.
And we take action, and the actions are just. However, if somebody is found that they are in misconduct, then the penalty is severe.
At 6, hear more from the Newberry Sheriff about what could come next in the suspension process. In McBee, Rachel Richardson, WBTV on your side.
We'll see you at 6, Rachel. Thank you.